Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah Olson and I'm a stay-at-home homeschooling mama to 3 little ones. I'm so excited about today's video because it is a collaboration with my friend Dana. Dana is over at Our Sweetie Bird's Home. She has a channel called Our Sweetie Bird's Home. I've just loved watching Dana's videos for a long time. She's a homeschooling mama to 4 little ones, and I just love her thoughtfulness and her intentionality with her children. Her approach to motherhood and to homeschooling too is such a breath of fresh air. I always leave her videos feeling refreshed in my attitude towards motherhood, and it's just so encouraging watching anything that she shares, anything she writes too. Dana is so kind in how she interacts with her children, and you can just see it in her videos. It's so inspirational to see how she's pursuing the calling of motherhood and homeschooling in her life, and I know you will be inspired by her content as well. So be sure to head over and check out her channel today. It's called Our Sweetie Bird's Home, and let Dana know that I sent you. She also has a blog and she's on Instagram too, which I will link all of this down below. And thanks Dana for collaborating on today's video. So we are well on our way to spring here, although it doesn't really look like it from what you can see outside our window. We got about 7 inches of snow in one dumping, in one snowstorm, and the kids were delighted. The parents a little less so because we have to do things like shovel off cars, but it actually was a really peaceful way to start the day, to open up the blinds and see all of that snow hanging so beautifully off of the trees. So I have an almost 7.5-year-old Sophie, an almost 5.5-year-old Soren, and a very soon to be 2-year-old named Svea. And they were so excited about the snow and they really wanted to get out and play. And so I promised them we would, but I did want to make sure we did some of the main basic parts of our morning routine first, including school time, just to make sure we got that done during the day. It's moments like these when I have a baby on my hip and I have 3 little, well 4 I guess including myself, cereal bowls all laid out in a row that I get to fill, that I feel so grateful for these precious little souls that I get to be with all day, every day. I know it can be a lot sometimes for those of us who are stay-at-home homeschooling mamas, but I really want to encourage you to lean into the fact that these little ones do need you and that you get the privilege of caring for all of their needs, big and small. Part of what I wanted to accomplish before we went outside and played in the snow, and even before school time, was to get this crock-pot taco vegetable soup in the crock-pot, because that way I would have supper already taken care of. It's not really typical for me to do meal prepping in the morning, and this kind of feels like meal prepping because I was getting something into the slow cooker. But I did a lot of vegetable chopping in the morning so that I wouldn't have to worry about supper plans later on in the day, and it was so worth it. And I actually really liked this taco soup. Everyone liked it. It has extra vegetables, and it's always fun to find a recipe that sneaks in those extra veggies. Something I've been thinking about recently is how all of the small little things, little moments in our day truly do add up to big results. And I've been reflecting on how consistency in the daily little things can make a huge difference in our life. And I feel like it goes against what we often see in culture around us and what our culture kind of expects to get, which is small amounts of effort being put in to get grand, big results or some kind of success. But that's not the way that it is in motherhood. That's not how homeschooling works, and I feel like I've really had to learn that over the years. Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." And so much of that language relates to motherhood and to homeschooling. There are so many moments in our days when we need to crouch down and maybe take our children's hands in our hands, look them in the eye, and speak to them about, matters of the heart, whether it's a behavior concern or something we want to speak into them, like how proud we are of them and something we noticed in their interactions with their siblings. All of those little bits of consistency and follow through as mamas is so hugely important. And it is hard. It's easy to get weary of doing good in those moments, but it is a harder task that we're asked to do, that we're called to do, and it is so worth it in the end if we do not give up. And those thoughts I shared about consistency in the little things, they are so relevant when it comes to homeschooling too, because when you are so up close to your child's learning, you of course have a really good finger on the pulse of how their learning is going. But sometimes we as moms lose sight of the bigger picture and how much progress truly is being made and how much learning is happening in the little things every day. And it just sometimes takes that plugging along day by day, moment by moment, even when the toddler is distracting everyone, or even when the pencils have all disappeared again, or someone knocks over mama's glass of water. It is in those moments that we need to remember not to grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap. And it's not guaranteed that we will reap today. In fact, that's not the nature of motherhood or the nature of homeschooling. We don't reap all the benefits of all the hard work and the investment that we are putting in today. But we can cling to God's promises that He is faithful in all the little moments and that all of our little daily consistency does add up. And so doing one math lesson at a time, we will eventually see growth. Doing one character building conversation at a time, and we will eventually see the fruit of that. And reading one Bible story at a time, layer by layer, we are building a solid foundation in our children, not only for their education, but also for their character and hopefully their faith. So I wanted to encourage you in that and encourage myself. I'm preaching to myself here too, that it is the little things that truly do add up and make a big difference. Some days, Svea is very well occupied with her special school time activities, and other days she wants to be very close to mama, which is fine, and I know it can be distracting to have toddlers underfoot during school time, but learning truly is happening for all three of my kids during these moments, and I have to remember that even when Svea really is a busy girl and wants to be very involved. That is just fine, and she is just as much a member of our family who is learning and growing with us as the other children are. So here I'm working with Soren over on the couch doing some of his direct instruction time, And then at the end of school time, sometimes the kids do help me pick up, and sometimes, like here, they want to continue playing with the manipulatives, which is just fine. And I thought this was the sweetest thing. So Svea was doing her normal, almost 2-year-old coloring there, and Sophie decided that she could use different colored pencils to fill in Svea's drawings, and she was being so sweet with Svea and complimenting her on her wonderful art, and then working together with her, and Soren was too, to color in all of Svea's drawings, and they were making Svea feel so proud, and it was so darling how they were all working together on this. And here's everyone continuing to color together. Sophie and Soren decided it was a factory, which went well with the fact that Svea was cranking these out at a pretty quick, pretty fast rate there. And I had to keep this little note that Sophie left for me. We had leftover chicken and a kale quinoa salad. Really, really delicious recipe. I can link that recipe down below for you too. And then it was time to get all suited up to go play outside in the snow. I'm maybe not the biggest fan of winter, but there is something so beautiful about these winter days, and I truly try to find something magical that I can notice in nature in all seasons. And this snow was so much fun. Actually, even since then, we've been outside for hours working on a snow fort together. The kids and I have been going out after lunch, but before quiet time, and you can see how much snow fell there on the trash can. So this is our rental house. Our home is 2 hours south of here, but due to my husband's job, we live 2 hours north of our home for about 5 months out of the year every year, and it used to be an apartment, but now this year we decided to do a rental house, and it has been such a blessing to have a backyard. So I decided to try a suggestion that a friend of mine told me about, and that's to make snow cream or snow ice cream. All you need is a can of sweetened condensed milk, 12 cups of fresh clean snow, and some vanilla. So the kids were absolutely thrilled. They didn't know I was planning this until the very end of our snow playing time. I thought I would just keep it a secret so that we got a lot of good outside time before we wanted to come in and have a treat. And everyone wanted to help, especially Svea. I've always had pretty consistent kitchen helpers, but with her being almost 2, she was very excited to help. We just blended it together with a hand mixer. I'm sure you could blend it by hand as well. And it was really good. It tasted just like super fun homemade ice cream, and that was a really special treat for our snow day. I always like to use quiet time, or pretty much always use quiet time to work on computer work. That way I don't have my laptop out much at all in front of the kids. And I sat in what we like to call a sun puddle on the chair and worked for a while. And then the second Sophie and Soren were done with quiet time, they jumped right into building cool things out of Magnetiles, which are definitely tried and true toys for us at this point. And Svea was up from her nap here, and she and I were starting to put together our elderberry syrup kit. We love the Earthly brand of elderberry syrup. I'll link it down below. And I love making the syrup actually into gummies using some gelatin, and the kids really prefer it that way. I think I do too, and it's a lot easier than trying to measure it out and pour it out. We don't have a ton of our elderberry gummies every day, like not a really huge amount, but I try to give it to the kids and myself as our dessert basically with lunch every day, and we have just a consistent small handful of gummies every day, and I personally feel like they have actually helped us in our immune system strengthening that we try to do with our vitamins and supplements too. So that has been a fun dessert-like little treat for us, and I always try to have some of those elderberry gummies on hand. On days that I don't get our clean laundry from the night before, put away in the morning before school time, I like to do it before it is supper time. So this is the late afternoon sun coming into our bedroom. I love the sunshine, especially this time of year. And I've learned to start my laundry putting away process on the master bed, because if I dump all the laundry out on the bed, then I really am forcing myself to address it before I can crawl into bed later. And that strategy seems to work pretty well for me. But anyway, I like to sort on our master bed, and I move all of the kids' clothing over to the laundry basket, and then I move to their room next to put their clothes away. Here I am straining out all of the liquid from the elderberry syrup that had been simmering for quite some time and then sitting for a little while I put the laundry away. And the recipe says that you can add a little bit of extra water, so that's what I am doing here. And then you add about a half cup of honey, which I think really helps everyone to love elderberry syrup and elderberry gummies. So I'm adding the honey in there, and then I have a favorite brand of gelatin, and it's by the Perfect brand. It's called Perfect bovine gelatin, and I add, I think it's about 7 tablespoons to the pot, and I'm reheating actually all that elderberry syrup with the honey in it after it had gotten strained, and then I just stir that around for a while and heat it up until the gelatin is all the way dissolved. Sometimes there are little bits, but I can still strain those out with a fork or something, and then I just let the gummies chill. And by then our taco soup was ready, and my husband came home in time for supper, which is always fun. We enjoyed the soup with a side of our favorite sourdough sandwich bread, and that was pretty much the end of our day. I want to thank you for coming along with us for the day. If you are new here and you are coming over from Dana's channel, thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you choose to stick around and hit that subscribe button. I would love it and be so honored if you would stay a while. I love posting about all things motherhood, homemaking, and homeschooling, and I hope to encourage mamas along the way. I also have a free webinar about productivity secrets for mamas of young children if you want to check that out. And if you already subscribed to my channel, then be sure to go over and check out Dana's channel, Our Sweetie Bird's Home. Thank you again for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.